I'm sorry, AEW, but CM Punk just destroyed and buried you guys in the latest interview with Ariel Helwani. I'm going to go ahead and read some tweets of the things he said during the interview and give you guys my opinions on each tweet. It does come from WrestlePurists. Make sure to follow them. Anyways, the first one confirms the story of nobody picking him up for AEW's All-In pay-per-view. This is what the tweet says. CM Punk says when he arrived in London for AEW All-In, there was nobody there to pick him up, but he got on the tube and thought it was an adventure and fun. But it was irresponsible of AEW to leave him stranded. This is just sad. The fact that everybody there was so passive-aggressive is just pathetic, and the fact that some people who did like CM Punk just did not know. Like, how can you not arrange a ride for your biggest draw? That is just a big, fat joke. I can't believe it. It's disappointing because they have so much potential, but they act like this. It just doesn't make sense. The next thing CM Punk revealed was that Tony Khan created Collision to separate the Elite from CM Punk and all the Elite friends. This is such a goofy way of handling things. The next tweet, it says this. CM Punk said Tony Khan's big idea was a separate show, Collision, and separate everybody. CM Punk said that he said it would never work and to just let him go, but Tony refused. I can see why Tony Khan thought this was a good idea. I guess you want to make it work, but it's alarming that the Elite did not want to meet with CM Punk to hash things out. He's got to seriously reevaluate those guys because this man created an entirely new show because his guys would not squash the beef they started with CM Punk. That's just ridiculous. Moving on, we now have a better idea about the glass incident with Jack Perry before All In. This is what the tweet says. CM Punk says at an early Collision, Tony Schiavone came up to him and said Jack Perry was cursing him, Mike, Daryl from production, and cursing out the doctor. Punk said he asked why, but was skeptical because Perry wasn't supposed to be there, as Punk was told everyone was being separated on Collision and Dynamite. He says Schiavone begged him to come and say something and saw Jack Perry wanted to smash a rental's car window with a lead pipe. He says he told Jack Perry politely, because he liked Jack Perry, that Mike, Daryl, Schiavone, and the doctors have told you no, and I now have to tell you no, and apparently you've cursed them all out, so I'm telling you no, we don't do that here. If you want to do this, go do it Wednesday and do it there. Punk says that Perry had no problem and said, I just thought it was a really cool idea. He says that he wasn't trying to throw his weight around and just thought it was a dumb idea. This seems like a very logical thing to do. I wonder if this is how the conversation went. If it is, I could see the guys on Wednesday getting in Jack Perry's head saying that it was about him abusing his powers and stuff like that. But anyways, who does Jack Perry think he is to be acting like that? The dude is pretty much a jobber at this point. Like, you know what I mean? Like, he's not a top tier superstar kind of guy. How is AEW letting jobber kind of guys walk around and talk like that? That's really crazy. I just don't get it. I don't understand anything about it. Like, I would understand maybe someone like Samoa Joe doing something like that and cursing out the doctor, saying he's going to do something. But Jack Perry? Like, it just doesn't make sense. That's really crazy. Anyways, this is what Punk said about the All-In situation with Jack Perry. CM Punk says he went up to Jack Perry at Wembley after Perry's match and said, why do you insist on doing this dumb internet shit like that on TV? And he was like, if you got a problem with it, do something about it. And I was just like, come on, man, I'd fucking kill you. What are we doing, you know? And it's just like Charles says, I can't let you guys close. I thought I was doing a responsible thing. I didn't punch anybody. I just choked somebody a little bit. Samoa Joe was there, told me to stop, and then I quit. I turned to Tony Khan and said, this place is a fucking joke, man, and you're a clown, and I quit. I went to my room, then Joe and Jerry Lynn came and got me, and we're like, let's just go and kill it. Jack Perry is the definition of fuck around and find out. Now I see why Tony Khan is mad at him for the situation. The fact that AEW lost CM Punk, a true top draw, because of a jobber acting like a top star is ridiculous. I wish we got more details about this, but everything is pretty much in line with what we've read around the internet. And after explaining all this, this is what CM Punk said about Tony Khan. The truth is the truth. He's not a boss, he's a nice guy, and I think ultimately that's a detriment to the company. I totally agree. Tony Khan is not capable of being a boss of AEW when you gotta be a boss. He's too nice. He wants to be friends with everybody, and that is just not possible when you're trying to grow a business. I hope that Tony Khan realizes this and puts somebody else in charge in that position of being the AEW GM, because I don't think he's going to change. I don't think he wants to, and I think at this point, 4 or 5 years into the company, it's kind of very hard to change that aspect of you. Punk then spoke about the differences between AEW and WWE when it comes to the recovery of his injury. And CM Punk says nobody in AEW talked to him for about 6 months after Brawlout. He had to sort his tricep surgery by himself. He says the difference between getting injured in both companies is night and day. This one makes sense why nobody did want to speak to him. If we're being real, the Brawlout was actually wild and it did alienate him from everybody. It makes sense that they stayed away from him. I still think it's kind of messed up considering that the guy had to do surgery and nobody helped him out. You know, like maybe his friends should have reached out or whoever. I think that Tony Khan should have. I don't even know if they did. We don't know exactly if him and Tony Khan spoke because CM Punk signed that NDA. We don't know too much about the Brawlout situation. But at the end of the day, it takes two to tango. You know what I mean? And I also think the Elite is to be blamed more than CM Punk about this entire situation. But what are you going to do, you know? He then said this about AEW and their business practices. It's just not a real business. It's not about selling tickets. It's not about drawing money. It's not about making money. It's just not. So what's it about? I don't know. I think it's about having good matches maybe, and there's nothing wrong with that. I think there is something wrong with that. That's a problem for AEW. You gotta act like a serious company if you want to grow. They focus too much on matches. They don't focus too much on storytelling, and they don't focus on big time moments. They really need to reprioritize everything. The company still has a lot of potential, I think, but it will take a lot of work if we're being completely honest with you. CM Punk also revealed that he had 2 different contracts with AEW. One of them was for being an on-screen talent as a wrestler, and the other contract was for being a consultant to Tony Khan. We've seen AEW do this with many people. I think it's a way to have people like CM Punk help out more while also giving them more benefits as well, like health insurance. And finally, CM Punk said this about his time with AEW and if he regrets it or not. He said, "I don't regret my time with AEW. I'm just brutally honest about some things, and it's done. I hope they're happy. I know I am. I would like to leave it at that. I understand fans and the tribalism. I'm a Blackhawks, I'm a Chicago Cubs fan, so I will always troll and needle White Sox fans or Blues fans or Predators, you know? But some of the shit was so outlandish, talking about my dog and all this awful stuff." Well, at least it's nice to see that CM Punk does not regret his time. And at the end of the day, it did lead him back to the WWE, and he seems to be very happy with that decision. There are still going to be some salty AEW fans who will never get over this. That is sad, but what are you going to do, you know? As Jack Perry said, "Go cry me a river." That's what I say to all those fans. CM Punk said a lot of truth in this interview, and unfortunately, these diehard fans I'm talking about won't even accept it. They will go back to watching the product and pretending that everything is perfect. And that's the sad reality of what's going on with AEW. They got a lot of potential, but they might even be afraid of their own isolated audience, and that's a problem. But you know what? That's not my problem. I know this video will get a lot of those fans mad, but like I said, they really can't handle the truth, and I don't really care. What are your opinions on everything CM Punk said in this interview? Let me know in the comments below. Anyways, that is it for the video, guys. Thanks for watching. I hope y'all enjoyed. If you did, please make sure to leave a like and subscribe for more, and I'll see you all in the next video.